What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to week 2 of reacting to your hot takes. Of course, as always, if you do want to be in these videos in the future, make sure to follow me on Twitter. Link will be in the description, as well as subscribe to the channel so that you can see the community posts so that you can comment underneath those as well. But today, we're going to react to some more of your hot takes. Let's get strapped and let's get ready. Starting off with, we have Ngannou is a diva who was making Conor McGregor level demands while only bringing in women's MMA levels in sales. Now, I kind of have two opinions on this. One where I technically agree. I think Ngannou kind of played his cards wrong with the whole UFC situation. I feel like he kind of could have made things better out for him. I think if he fought Jon Jones and got that big paycheck, because imagine how big of a name Francis Ngannou would be if he actually beat Jon Jones. He would have beat Stipe probably in a rematch, then would have gotten that Jon Jones fight. On top of having pay-per-view points, this guy would have made a lot of money in the UFC. He would have been active. He would have had the best win of his career if he did manage to beat Jon Jones. He would have been on top of the world. And then on the other side of this argument, the UFC was purposely trying to undersell Francis Ngannou. If you guys don't remember, him versus Cyril Gane was a January pay-per-view, and they really didn't stack the card at all, and it seemed like it was on purpose. And the reason they did this was so that Ngannou wouldn't sell that much and he wouldn't have as much leverage in negotiations, and that played a huge factor into why he left. But even before that, I don't think Ngannou was the biggest draw, and it doesn't make much sense to me because Ngannou's this one-punch KO villain. He's this one-punch KO monster. He has the best highlights in terms of KOs in the entirety of the UFC, but he just doesn't speak good English, and I guess he isn't a big draw in the UFC, and it makes perfect sense. And it seems like 500 for 500 wasn't the deal that Ngannou wanted. He did want to make millions, and I think he was overselling himself. And it kind of came into fruition later down the line because Ali Abdelaziz kind of exposed him for not having an agent, and he was going into these negotiations with PFL, with Bellator, with boxing promoters, with absolutely no agent. And it seemed like to me Ngannou didn't know what he was doing, and he kind of needed somebody to represent him because he didn't have an agent at the time, and he wasn't planning on hiring an agent. So I have no clue what was going on with Ngannou. So I can kind of understand here that Ngannou did make really bad decisions, but it's also on him a lot, and it's also on the UFC as well. Both of these guys could have handled these things better, but it's a hot take, but I don't think it's that crazy of a hot take. Moving on. When a fighter commits a foul and there's a minute taken on the timeout clock, there has to be a point deduction. Too many fighters commit some bad fouls and cripple their opponents for easier fights / rounds, or flip that around. And the only reason I disagree with this is because this is probably only going to promote more actors in the octagon. We already have an issue. After Aljamain Sterling pretty much won a Grammy Award for his performance against Petr Yan in the first fight, pretty much it started a wave of fighters just absolutely milking their injuries. It would be not even a groin shot. It would be on the belt line, and we would see fighters just milk the hell out of it. And if it goes past a minute, I can see a lot of fighters just sitting there in a close fight with kind of a risky, or maybe not, maybe it is a foul in a situation where it can kind of be in that gray area line. And we can see a ton of fighters just sit here and just cry on the floor for a minute straight every single fight if there's a foul. And I would absolutely hate that. I would rage out of my mind if we saw like a championship fight in the 5th round. It's 2-2 going in that 5th round, and there's a kind of an awkward foul, and we see a fighter just cripple to the ground and just start crying, bawling their absolute eyes out because they want to get a point deduction. That's the only reason I disagree with that, but I do think there should be more of a serious punishment. But again, on the other side of this, I think the refs should be able to go back and review a foul, and if it looks egregious enough, take a point away. There has to be a way for referees to punish some of these guys who commit a lot of fouls in the octagon, because there's too many warnings going on. There's too many blatant groin shots and eye pokes, and at some point we have to have these refs be able to assess how bad the injury was, because in the moment things fly around too fast. So I think a nice review booth, like how the NFL does it, even though it's probably not the most realistic, but some sort of way for the referee to review the foul and maybe decide to take a point or not, but it might leave too much power in the referee's hand. I don't really know. It's kind of a really hard solution to find at this point, but there's plenty of them out there. I guess we can make some ideas. The UFC is a billion-dollar company. They should figure something out for these dumb referees sometimes and these milking, fake injuring fighters. Poatan would have swept the entire middleweight division, including Chimaev. Now, I don't know about Chimaev, but I think he has a good shot of beating most middleweights. Middleweights are kind of trash, but when I say this, we talk about Poatan, there's some sort of way he would have lost to Derek Brunson. There's just some world, some fluky alternate universe where Poatan just gets absolutely out-grappled and rear naked choked by Derek Brunson. But I definitely somewhat agree. I think Poatan would have a really solid chance against a lot of these guys. And before Whitaker fought Dricus du Plessis, I would have probably picked Whitaker to beat Alex Pereira. But looking at it now, I think guys with power are a really bad matchup for Whitaker, and so I would probably take Poatan to get it done against Whitaker. It might still sound crazy now, but I think we just have a new sort of field, and I think somebody who is actually good at striking at middleweight can pose a lot of issues for a lot of these guys. I mean, he would beat Vettori. He can probably beat Cannonier. That'd be another tough matchup, but I think if Israel Adesanya can deal with Cannonier, I think that Poatan could have at that time if he did move up to light heavyweight. So I think he pretty much easily sweeps the top 5. Chimaev, not so much. I have to see Chimaev and how he looks against Paulo Costa, because we don't know what he really is at middleweight just yet. I know he beat the big legendary GM3, but that's his only middleweight win. So I don't really know how he's going to look against Paulo Costa. And I think once we figure out how good Chimaev really is up a weight class, we can really judge that more fairly. Volk versus Islam was not a robbery. Yeah, I think so too. I think if you go by the rules of MMA, you kind of have to give Islam based on a bit more damage. That round 4 was kind of weird because you can kind of, if you really are a stickler to the rules of MMA, round 4 would technically be a win for Alexander Volkanovski because he did more damage. But then again, Makhachev had the back of that entire round. So there's a lot of kind of gray line between the judging there. I think at the end of the day, I think Islam definitely won the contest, but he didn't win the fight. I think Volk clearly was, if there was a 6th round, Islam's getting finished. But I think a lot of people get caught up in how good Volk actually looked because nobody really expected him to do well at all in this matchup. People kind of just thought he would get run over by Islam because he would be too small. So I guess him doing well against Islam was a huge oh shit moment. But it kind of makes them overrate this fight a bit too much. Volk was good. Volk looked great, and he definitely put a whooping on Islam in that 5th round, but I don't think he won 3 rounds to 2. You can kind of argue it a little bit with that 4th round, I think, because based on damage, again, Volk kind of does win, but control time, I guess, matters in that situation. And when it's a dominant position, like having the back and with a body triangle, I guess the judges have to sway that way no matter what. It's weird. The scoring criteria is still a bit gray. I don't understand it sometimes. Judges don't even know what they're fucking scoring at times. Let's be honest here. I feel as if the majority of the MMA community knows how to score fights rather than the judges. So whatever. This is more so on the judges than it is on Volk or Islam. I'm sorry. If Alexander Volkanovski wins his next fight, he is higher than Aldo on the GOAT list, or he's pretty high on the GOAT list. I think he's already better than Aldo. I'm being honest with you. That's my hot take. I'm going to answer your hot take with my own hot take. I think that Alexander Volkanovski is already higher than Aldo on the GOAT list. I think that win against Jair Rodriguez put him over the top for me. But if he does get another win in the UFC, there's absolutely no doubt he can be an arguable top 5 guy. Maybe, I don't know. He's getting up there. You can probably put him in a top 5 position at some point, but I think if you're still on the fence about him not being better than Aldo, I think if he does beat Pereira down the line, you have to give him that. You have to give him that featherweight GOAT status. I already have given him the featherweight GOAT status, but him beating Pereira, I think there would be absolutely no argument for it. Now the last one, this is a fun one. Derrick Lewis's balls are not hot. They're actually quite cold. This is a crazy hot take, an absolutely insane hot take. This is actually the hottest take that I've ever seen, and I actually agree. Derrick Lewis's cojones are Derrick Lewis's cojones are definitely cold. I don't know. I'm just kidding. There's no way. Do you see how much that man sweats? He's a big boy. Derrick Lewis is not a skinny boy. He has to sweat a lot. So I doubt that his lower region is definitely not cold. So I would definitely bet that Derrick Lewis's nether regions are pretty much the same temperature as the sun. But that's the video today. Thank you guys for submitting your hot takes in this video. I really do appreciate you guys so much. We're going to make this a weekly thing. If you guys keep responding to me and giving me hot takes, I'm going to keep producing this video. I'm thinking about every Friday morning, I release out a community post and a tweet, and you guys respond to that. And every single Monday, I'll make the video and I'll post it. It gives me a little bit of a schedule. It allows you guys to get your hot takes in for the entirety of the weekend. So you have a nice 3-day stretch pretty much to get your hot takes in before I make the video, and partially part of Monday because I make videos late at night because I'm a absolute psychopath. But thank you guys so much for the hot takes. I'm out of here. Like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon for notifications. We got a banger list of videos this week. Join the membership if you want to be in there. I'm going to post my full card predictions. I'll make a video as well. So if you are interested in being a member, join it down below. Link in the description. I'm out of here, guys. Peace.